In this video, I'm going to address the pros and cons of selling your home as is. When I am working with homeowners who are talking about selling their home, one of the first questions they have is, what work should I do to get my home ready for sale? Or should I do no work at all and sell my home as is? Well, the truth is there is no one cut and dry answer that works for everyone in all cases, but there are some pros and cons that I want to give you to help inform your own decision about if you want to sell your home as is or not. So I'm going to start with the pros of selling your home as is. So obviously, the first pro of selling your home as is that there is no cash out of pocket, or at least a lot less cash out of pocket when you sell your home as is. And that certainly is a big benefit. Many people struggle with coming up with the money to do any kind of pre-sale renovations for their home. And this can be very stressful for them, especially if they're being told by their realtor or their sister or the neighbor down the street that they really should do X, Y, and Z to their property before they put it on the market. Well, I am with Compass, and we do have Compass Concierge, and that will advance sellers a considerable amount of money, up to $100,000, to make those pre-sale renovations if they decide they want to do that. So just know that if you do feel that you should be doing some pre-sale improvements on your property, there is money available for you if you are working with a Compass agent. Now, there are some qualifications for that. Like you have to have like a 650 minimum credit score, and there are some other criteria as well. But most people do qualify for that. So if you do feel that you do need to do some pre-sale improvements, I have a way to help you out with that. Now, there is another huge benefit of doing a as-is sale. Hey, before I go any further, would you do me a favor? Would you, Frank, mash that subscribe button right there and subscribe to my YouTube channel? And don't forget, click that little bell to make sure that you get a notification every time I put up a brand new, fun, fact-filled video, kind of like this one. You will be able to get your home on the market much quicker, and in cases much quicker, by simply putting a sign in the ground and letting all takers come through your property as is. Now, you might think that it is better to wait to do some work on your house before you sell it, and that is certainly true in some cases, but not all cases. Specifically, if you are trying to hit the spring market or perhaps the fall market, and the work that you want to do to your house might push your listing date out past those two top periods of time in the year, then by all means, there is a strong case for selling your home as is, not doing that work, not taking the time, not finding that money, and just getting your home on the market as soon as possible. And in a declining market, which are we right now in May of 2025 in a declining market? Well, I don't think anyone would tell you that we are in a super strong appreciating market, but certainly if you are in a declining market, then getting your home on the market faster makes a whole lot of sense, especially if the market is in rapid decline. And there are some parts of the country, and indeed some areas of the greater San Francisco Bay Area, which it could be argued is the situation today. Now, the third pro to selling your home as is that you will find more buyers for it. Huh? You're saying what? I always heard that buyers want move-in ready homes. Well, that is true. Many buyers do want move-in ready homes, but there are two other kinds of homes that buyers are really looking for as well. And one of those is low-priced homes. So obviously, if you're going to put your home on the market as is, you are going to want to ask a lower price than an otherwise similar home, which was all fixed up prior to putting it on the market. That is a fact. You will have a hard time asking the same amount of money and getting it if your price is identical to the same house down the street, which just had a $200,000 facelift for it. That is, in fact, the truth. But by having a lower list price, you're going to find that you have many more buyers for your home than the house down the street, which they're asking an extra $300,000 for because they put $200,000 into it. And what happens when you have more buyers? When you have more buyers, price goes up because you only have one house to sell. That means you have a fixed supply. More demand on a fixed supply means higher prices, so more buyers is always better. And the second thing that buyers love after move-in ready houses is a fixer-upper. I can't tell you how many people have told me that they prefer to buy a fixer-upper because they want to fix it up themselves. Because What if that house was just had that $200,000 worth of work done to it, and for which they are now asking an extra $300,000 over yours? What if they don't like that? What if they don't like the paint? What if they don't like the cabinets or the countertops or the windows they installed or the lighting or the flooring or any of that stuff? What if? Yeah, that's right. What that means is that buyer would want to remove all that stuff. They wouldn't want to pay for all those improvements which weren't up to their own personal standards or tastes. So yeah, don't forget that there is a sizable chunk of the market that actually strongly prefers fixer-upper homes at a lower price. And the fourth pro of selling your home as is that there is no guesswork. So that person down the street who dumped 200 grand into their property before putting it on the market, they're guessing. They're guessing what the buyer's going to like in terms of flooring and cabinets and counters and lighting and windows and landscaping and all of that. And maybe it's an educated guess and maybe they guess right, but maybe they guess wrong. Maybe they put in $200,000 for the house and they only sell it for $150,000 more than you get selling your home completely as is. That happens quite a lot. Actually, it happens more often than not. There are many studies that show that these kinds of pre-sale renovations end up on average costing sellers a lot of money. In fact, I think the average is like a 25% loss on the money spent on those pre-sale improvements. So just be aware that a pro of selling your home as is that you avoid all of that risk, all of that guesswork. And I think that in times like these, there are a lot of people who have had enough with the uncertainty and the risk and would very much prefer to just avoid all that, and selling your home as is lets you do that. So as you can see, there are in fact a lot of reasons to sell your home as is. I think in many cases, sellers would be well advised to sell their homes as is, but not in all cases, because there are in fact some cons to selling your home as is. So the first con of selling your home as is if your home is in such a state that a lender will not loan on it. Now, if your home can't get financing, that is absolutely going to crush the value. And I mean crush it. It could easily drop your home's value by 20% or more, possibly, depending on the actual condition issue of the property. My suggestion is if you can, do whatever needs to be done to put your home into such a state as it can qualify for most conventional forms of financing. So certainly conventional financing, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, and even jumbo financing. You want to put it into a state where it will work for most kinds of loans, because if you are forced to sell your home to a cash buyer, you will definitely walk away with less money in almost all cases. Now, the second con for selling your home as is that it might be difficult or even impossible to get insurance on the property. Now, you probably already have insurance, so that's not an issue for you at this time, but the buyer will be shopping for quotes and they might find that there are no insurers for the property. They might say, oh, well, the roof is too old, or there is too many trees that are like overhanging the roof. It's a fire hazard. This is more and more of a problem. So if there are any conditions on your property that may preclude it from getting a new insurance policy issued, my advice is to definitely take care of those. Now, of course, a lot of these insurance issues actually can be worked out during escrow, but I can tell you it is very stressful to try to address these issues while you are keeping a deal together. You don't want the mortgage loan lock to expire. You don't want the buyer to get nervous and walk. You don't want any kind of construction delays or whatever to hold up the deal. It's really good advice to assess your property before you put it on the market and address any of these issues which may cause a problem getting insurance for the buyer. Now, the third big con for selling your home as is that you may be missing out on some upside potential. And this is the big reason why people do not want to sell their home as is, because they have FOMO. They have fear of missing out on that upside potential. And definitely, if you do the work on your house, you will, well, not definitely, but probably quite likely sell your home for more than you would have if you did no work whatsoever. But would you make more money than it cost to do those pre-sale improvements? And in many cases, no, you actually make less money on the sale of your house than the cost of those improvements, in which case, in my mind, it makes no sense to do that work whatsoever. But there are some cases where doing those pre-sale improvements does make sense. And that is why you want to talk to somebody who has a lot of experience selling houses that are, in need of some work, who can tell you what improvements, what repairs, what upgrades make sense for your home in your neighborhood in the current market. And that is where I come in. If you are thinking about selling your home in the Greater Bay Area, then by all means, give me a call. I'd love to come over, take a look, and tell you what I think makes sense for you to do in terms of preparing your home for market that will actually net you the most amount of money at closing after all costs, fees, and expenses. So my number is right here at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, give me a call or shoot me a text message. Love to talk to you, find out what your situation is, what your goals are for the sale, and how I can help you make your next move the best one yet. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so very much for watching. And if by any chance you did enjoy watching this video, I'm guessing, just a guess, you might also enjoy some of these videos over here. These are some of the most popular videos here on my YouTube channel, so please do take a look. And please stay tuned.